Greetings, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Pod SCUM. This is the podcast where we delve into the deepest, the darkest, the murkiest of waters with a wide array of the coolest guests being interviewed by the internet's hottest host. That's right. This is Rex Ruger, your bastard of ceremonies. That's Rex with 3 X's, if you will. A.K.A. the hair metal high priest, A.K.A. the king of sleaze, A.K.A. the man with the golden voice and the velvet tongue, A.K.A. the hardest working man in show business, but most importantly, A.K.A. Diamond David Lee Roth Jr. Take one look. Is there any doubt that I am the son of glam, the front man for the band? Just got done smoking a lot of grams, got a million fans, always going out with a bang. Mr. Wop Bop Loo Bop Wop Bang Bang Shazam, ha bam, woo. Let me give myself a look here. Coming to you as always from the Blue Lagoon, the den of sin. And if you also want to look this good, and you want the locks that rock, get you some. Spray responsibly. Yeah. Whew. And of course, this is the No Frills podcast. I jump right in. This is what you get. Me promoting myself a little bit because I got to promote me and my new band, Love Sword. If anybody wants in, hit me up in the comment section if you want to be backing up the greatest frontman in the business. But right now, you'll see me as I work my technology like a half-assed 49-year-old man should. And you get to see me try to get my guests in here, get a peek behind the curtain. You know why? Because there is no frills. Because you get plenty of thrills. And you're looking at it. So, while we wait for my guest to get in here, we will, oh, and look at that. We will wait no more as we get down to the brass tacks here with the man himself.
Yo, yo.
Jon, so nice of you to join us.
Dude, how are you?
Good. Jon Longley from Maylene and the Sons of Disaster. Listen, first of all, I want to say how happy I am to have this band back, and we'll get into more of that later. But on Wikipedia, why do they list you as John Thatcher Longley? I like the sound of that. It's very serial killer.
Yeah, so that's actually an interesting way to start this off, man.
Yeah.
So I came up actually in the hip hop world.
Okay.
That was when I got my first break, was playing for a gentleman named MC Lars.
Okay.
Right? So he was kind of like satirical hip hop, like Weird Al Yankovic meets Beastie Boys, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm somewhat satirical because I go around claiming that I'm Diamond David Lee Roth Jr. So I mean, you know, I certainly understand the satire aspect of it.
Right.
Go on. Go ahead.
So that being said, this dude's brand of humor was a little odd, but he did a song which ended up making the album called Jon Thatcher Longley, which is my full, birth name, middle name too. Yeah. And it was all about cleaning up my messy house. So he actually put this song on the record, and it became the number 11th most downloaded song. So
really?
Yeah, so people kind of know me by Jon Thatcher Longley if you are a fan of this this guy. So that's how that.
I actually think what's cool about it is it could be very serial killer-esque because you do see a lot of them with 3 names, but I could also see it on the door of a law firm. Jon Thatcher Longley Esquire. I mean, yeah, it works both ways. So we haven't gotten new music from Maylene and the Sons of Disaster since 2011. So this is very exciting. How did you get hooked up with the guys from Maylene? Did you go back with them a long ways?
You know what? It's an interesting story. It's one of those like this is a very small world kind of stories.
Yeah.
I actually was playing with that guy MC Lars at the time.
Okay.
And the drummer of the band Coheed and Cambria is this guy, Josh Eppard.
Okay.
And Josh had a little struggle, with drug usage. So he was actually taking hiatus from Coheed and doing a hip hop project called Weird Science. So I got hooked up with playing the drums for Weird Science because MC Lars took him out on tour and helped him with his record. So I just by default was playing drums live for this guy. And then we became great friends, and he was obviously still drumming. So he ended up recommending me to Brad, who was the bass player of Maylene, saying,
Right.
hey, I got this guy who does my hip hop stuff, but he's great. So really gave me an awesome recommendation.
Yeah.
And I did a video submission for 2 songs, sent that over. It was awful quality, like, with my little handheld flip cam, I think it was.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, just in the basement. It just sounded awful. But I sent that in and I was like, oh man, I that would be such a cool gig to Maylene, like, oh my
Yeah.
God. And it was just such a 180 from what I was playing, because I was doing hip hop stuff, and
Yeah.
it was like battling a track or a DJ, so
Right.
I'm kind of,
Right.
it's not really playing with other people, other musicians. It's more, I don't know what I would say. It's more just robotic, because it's all about the lyricist, and it
Right.
doesn't feel like a band,
And so was your first meeting with them? Was your first interactions with them? Was that prior to Dallas's terrible accident?
Oh yeah. So this is going back. My first show with them was in 2011.
Right.
So, and that was crazy, man. So just to wrap up the thought is that I was doing hip hop, right? So the most I was used to is get your hands up, and
Yeah.
a bunch
Yeah.
of people
Yeah.
doing
Right.
that. And the first song of the first Maylene show that I ever played was in this, it was a rented out church, I think, in Virginia Beach. And the mosh pit just opened up into about 400 strong. The second they started playing the song, some kid had a stroke like 30
Jeez.
seconds in at the first show I'm ever filling in for. So we had to stop for about 45 minutes while they took this kid out on a stretcher, and like he ended up being okay, thank gosh. But
Yeah. Thank God. Thank God. And not to
that
make
was,
light of it, and not to make light of it, but you were part of making music that induced a stroke. That's pretty crazy.
It was pretty crazy. And just to go from go from the hip hop world to like, oh wow, we're taking a emergency medical, wow.
Now, once Dallas had that accident, did you think, did you think you'd be here where you are right now, talking about Maylene going back out on the road, possibly making new music, or did you think in your heart that Dallas may be done with music?
It was a difficult time. It was we had plans as a band. We had tours lined up, and we had music that we wanted to make, and we were kind of feeling strangely like motivated and ambitious after the last record, that we really wanted to do something that brought it back to the roots. So we were all excited, and it kind of blindsided all of us. What happened was, originally none of us knew obviously how bad it was.
Right.
So we gave him, obviously he took I think it was about a year before we saw him, maybe a little bit less. We saw him again for the first time, and we set up instruments in his parents' living room. And I'll send you a picture of our setup. It's so, he's from Ocala, where it's very Maylene-y, just like shotgun on the mantle and like, but he went to, I remember that day we saw him, and you could tell like, oh man, this was a lot worse than we thought it was. But he was holding conversations with us, and he wouldn't really fall off of that. So that was nice. But then he told us that he went to a voice doctor, and the doctor was just like, hey, I want you to scream. And he was like, are you sure? Like, and he was like, yeah, I just want you to try to yell as loud as you can. And Dallas just goes, and the doctor,
it was still there. It was there, huh?
It was there, and it was like, whoa, like wow. So after hearing that and seeing him even just so soon after do that still it was really just like optimism set in, and it was like, wow, dude, like Dallas is a fighter, man. Like
Yeah,
he is going to do this again because he wants it bad enough, and
And I'll say this too, man. This is a pretty badass band because not only do they have a guy with the name of Jon Thatcher Longley, but now they've got a front man with an eye patch. I mean, that poster for the next show, you guys look like something that just came out of the swamp. It fits with the whole Maylene and the Suns and the whole theme, the whole Ma Barker theme that they originally started with. And I mean, just like the creepiness factor, it really, really works. I mean,
thanks, man. Yeah, we definitely wanted to go with that Maylene ambience and like setting and creepy, swampy, southern, just bring it back,
Well, if Dallas got anything out of it, and it's unfortunate that he is having problems with his vision, I just had a detached retina, and I had to do the pirate eye patch for a while, though. And as much as of a badass look it is also a hindrance and probably not that fun to cart around all the time. But
yeah, I couldn't imagine. I mean, and he drives, and like he's surprisingly functional.
Well, I found out after I had my eye surgery, I said, worst case scenario, what happens if my detached retina didn't get better and my eyesight didn't get better? But apparently it's legal to drive in all the states in the United States with one eye.
Yeah, I did not know that. That's wild.
Legally, yeah.
Wow.
I guess a lot of it depends on how good the other eye is, though, because what if that one is shit,
Yeah, then who's a dub, but... Yeah.
So what's the game plan going forward, though? Is the game plan going forward here? You got the big, the first live show coming up here in September. But are you guys looking at getting back into the studio? And more importantly, what's it going to look like when you do get back in the studio? Because a lot of the landscape since you guys have put out new music in 2011 has really changed. I mean, people are going towards singles, people are doing EPs, people are doing full length albums. Does Maylene know which direction they're going in yet?
It's interesting. It's no surprise that with the last record that we put out there was definitely heavy influence for, a radio campaign and just keeping the whole thing kind of marketable. I hate to say that, but, very, we went in, we worked with numerous producers, and it was definitely geared towards, a product. I hate to say, but, and that's not to say there aren't some songs on the record that I absolutely love, but it wasn't. I think we all kind of knew it. Just gauging the response on the road was we wanted to get back to what we do best, which is just dirty Southern rock, and really just throw the parameters out the window. So I think that's bled into the new stuff that we're going to hopefully do here. And, with the show coming like in Tampa, that's the first show in like, what, 6 years?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable to even think that even just 6 years later, which feels like,
I know.
Either a lifetime or yesterday, but
it's really a testament to Dallas's fortitude, though. Like we mentioned earlier, though, the fact that he's going to be getting back onto a stage after the seemingly insurmountable milestones that he got over is pretty incredible.
It's unbelievable, man.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable, and he's a fighter, dude. He definitely is. Like,
yeah.
But he was over at my house not too long ago. Now we did a couple of rehearsals a few weeks back, and just sitting down and talking to him, I had this like feeling of euphoria, like nostalgia of like, oh man, this is like still same Dallas, dude. Like it's unbelievable, and like his mannerisms, his character, all these things are still the same old Dallas, but I hate to say it, but I think it changed him for the better, man. And like, he's just looking at life so positively, and like especially getting back on stage, like it really is a blessing for all of us, to be able to still do this, man, and like sell tickets. That's crazy to us.
Well, and you guys are also a very young, old band, though, too, because you guys didn't really get on your trajectory yet. I feel like it kind of got halted, so you guys really haven't explored yet, like where your ceiling is,
Yeah, and our bucket list is never full for this band, it seems like, and I hope that we carry the trajectory. But even just announcing Furnace Fest in Birmingham, that response was insane to us. We were just
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, people care. And like,
Yeah. Yeah.
this is really just amazing. So we've been
Well,
riding that way.
I think there is a natural curiosity to see like what has not manifested itself yet too, because obviously, as I mentioned, there were very high expectations. I think, I mean, like I was just feeling like I was just starting to really fall in love with this band, and then obviously the tragic to Dallas happened. So I feel like the machine really never got going. I
Yeah.
mean,
And it's going to be more incredible now moving forward is that I believe that we're still on this upward trajectory.
absolutely.
I think that given what the whole band has been through, but Dallas specifically, I think that moving forward is really going to be something special, just
Yeah.
given the experiences that he's had.
Yeah. Now, when you first got into drumming, who were the guys that you looked at? It might be kind of a stock question, but who were the guys that you first looked at that really blew your mind as percussionists?
I am an unapologetically huge fan of pop punk. So
Me too.
For me, it was Trey Cool from Green Day, just like
nice. Yeah.
Brooks Wackerman from Suicidal Tendencies, and like bands like No Use for a Name and
Okay.
Blink-182 and even
Yeah.
Newfound Glory,
Okay.
just very poppy, solid hitting drummers is what I looked at. I looked up to, and like Cyrus Baluki from Newfound Glory is probably one of my biggest influences, just because he hits every drum so hard with such like passion and conviction behind it. Every hit is perfect.
Right.
If you look at his snare drum, there's the only worn spot on the drum head is about the size of a quarter.
Yeah.
And it's just like, wow, man, like this dude is so precise and just tasteful,
Yeah. Now, what do you do other than Maylene now? Do you have any other bands? Because, from looking at your Facebook page, it looks like you've got other projects and you've got your hands in other projects. A big one I saw coming up a lot was you doing stuff with Astoria State.
For sure, man. So
okay. What's that all about?
State is my other project, and it is more of just like a melodic 90s alternative rock band. Like we pay homage to Gin Blossoms and
I like that. Yeah.
Goo Goo Dolls and things like that. So
yeah, okay.
It's a really fun project. Now that is with Danny from Red Jumpsuit Apparatus, and Ronnie, the singer of Red Jumpsuit Apparatus, is actually producing our record. So yeah, that's really exciting. We've been doing a lot with them, and I think it's just fun to play that stuff. Like just, coming from, like I said, a pop punk kind of background, these melodic rock songs are really fun to play. So but we're going to drop new music and hopefully another tour before the end of the year. So
Okay. So since you mentioned Furnace Fest before, and I can obviously tell that you're a good sport, I don't just throw this out with anybody. I'm going to throw you in the Pod Scum furnace right now. Going to rattle off some questions here. There's only two choices, and there are right or wrong answers here, Jon, so be careful.
Oh, man. All right.
Indica or sativa?
Indica.
Alice in Chains, Nirvana?
Nirvana.
Skateboarding, BMX, biking?
Skateboarding.
Joints, bowls?
Joints.
Beethoven or Backstreet Boys in your spare time?
Backstreet Boys.
Seinfeld or The Office?
The Office.
Good answer. Throwing stars or nunchucks?
Ooh, throwing stars.
Oh, good answer. Snickers or Milky Way?
Snickers.
Oh, here's a big one. You were just talking about 90s alternative. Matchbox 20 or Third Eye Blind? You can only have one.
Third Eye Blind.
Me too. One of my favorite bands. Last one. This is going to be a good one for a hip-hop guy for you. Tribe Called Quest or Wu-Tang Clan?
Wu-Tang Clan.
And then, of course, my father wouldn't be happy if I didn't ask David Lee Roth or Sammy Hagar.
Oh, my gosh. I'm a fan. This is a hard one.
This is a hard one. Go ahead. Go with your heart, Jon. It's all right.
Roth.
Oh, good. That's what I wanted
You
you to
know?
say. Absolutely, of course.
Yeah.
You're not just saying that for my sake, though, are you? Do you
No,
really love?
no, of course not.
Okay. As long as you really love the Sammy stuff.
Yeah.
I would say you got most of those right. You got most of those right. That's a pass. I'm going to put you down at you at a passing grade. I'm a little surprised. You know what? I could see you being an Office guy. I wasn't even surprised when you said The Office.
You know, so lately I've been going back and rewatching like entire series, you know, like sitting in my bunk on my iPad or something on the road, like just kind of binging shows again. And The Office is one that I just finished. I forgot how much I love that show.
Amazing.
It's
It really is.
It really
is.
So next, and currently I'm rewatching Seinfeld, which is really funny because I watch about 3 shows at a time, and Seinfeld is kind of buried in there. But I gotta say, the Seinfeld humor to me is outdated.
Yeah, it hasn't held up well over time. Yeah,
I love Curb Your Enthusiasm though. Like I am a huge fan of Larry David. So that's a tough one, but I have to say The Office is just it's unbelievable.
So tell me, with you being a drummer and being the guy that's usually in the back of the stage, is it nicer being the drummer in the rock band or the guy out front at the hip hop show?
Ooh, drummer in the rock band.
Yeah.
All day. Yeah. And especially with Maylene, because we rehearsed for the first time in years. And it was like, oh man, I forgot how much I love playing this music, you know?
Yeah.
And I get lost in it personally because it's just like hard hitting, head bobbing stuff. So,
but what was the first hip hop that really got you into hip hop though? Because I know I asked you about your musical influence as far as drumming and stuff, but I mean, what about hip hop? What was it that got you to really fall in love with hip hop? You remember who it was?
Yeah, I do. I think that it was probably Nas Illmatic.
Yeah.
You know,
an epic album.
If you like hip hop or not, that album, I don't know, it spoke to me. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
But I didn't really listen to a lot of hip hop until I got the opportunity with MC Lars, and he's a hip hop encyclopedia. So he really opened me up to a lot more. So obviously Biggie and Ice Cube and Wu-Tang and all these classic hip hop artists. They're fun to listen to, but for me, I kind of gravitate more towards like Joyner Lucas and Tech Nine, like the fast stuff,
Right. But when someone comes up to you and says, and I know this is big in the rap community, in the athletes, and it's a big part of like, like urban society or whatever. But when someone comes up and says, who's the GOAT of hip hop? Who is the GOAT of hip hop?
Oh my gosh. I don't
Is
even
there
know,
one?
man. I don't think so. I think that's completely up to opinion, because you have foundational hip hop, artists. Like
a lot of hip hop guys will give a lot of credit to a guy like Rakim and say, oh, Rakim's the GOAT.
Dude, for sure. And like, people like E40, swear that it's West Coast. People like Jay-Z and, swear it's East Coast guys. So it's probably going to come down to Biggie and Pac, I guess, at the end of it.
I guess it always does. It always seems like it does. It always seems like those two guys' names are in the conversation somewhere. So I don't know if you ever answered before, though. Like, what were you guys thinking as far as like where the musical landscape is right now? Have you guys sat down and said, geez, let's put out EPs, let's go a full-length album, why don't we just put out just strong singles and try some individual songs for out? Do you guys know where Maylene is headed and where you guys' heads are on that?
We have hopes. We do have a plan in place. It's not something that I can divulge just yet.
That's all right. Understand.
But you'll quickly see here, hopefully, the plan, and it'll make sense. But we are putting something new out. I just can't say when, but hopefully soon here. And it is, in my opinion, an ode to the original like essence of Maylene and stuff. So a real throwback to what we were doing. And where we originally wanted to go, I think. So, just looking at the tour flyer poster, like you said, like capturing the ambience of like that creepy Spanish moss, and we're gonna let that translate into the new music as well. So
And do you feel like all the members that you have right now? Because I know a lot of times you know, like when you Wikipedia bands, I off the top of my head, I can't think of what it is for Maylene, but there have been ex-members. Does it seem like you got a lineup right now where everyone's on the same page and invested in going forward? This will be a solid lineup of Maylene.
For sure. Right now, so the cool thing about the lineup now is that obviously Brad has been with them, you know, probably for 15 years or so. Dallas obviously is there, but I've been with them since 2011. So, you know, that's a chunk of time. So I feel like the three of us really have a nice foundation. We understand each other. We understand the band, and more importantly, we have never stopped. You know, like our minds have never deterred from like we want to keep doing this.
Sure.
But we have Jason, who has toured with Maylene quite a few times now. Jason Todd, he's from Shinedown, so he is, you know, an absolute performer. He's
that'll get the job done, that's for sure. Yeah,
totally great player, great human being, but you know, he's just so much fun to watch, and he brings this like very positive, like he's always the upbeat guy. And then we have Steve Savis, who is really just a phenomenal player, and he's so metered with how he plays that you know, he's just such a solid performer and solid guy that it would be really nice if we could all stick around and do this, and I think that's exactly what we all want. So
and what's the creative process going to be like as you guys get together? How does the creative process work when the guys from Maylene get together? Is it a sharing of ideas? Is it somebody comes with music and somebody comes with lyrics? Who does a lot of the creating? And while Dallas was recovering, is he somebody that kept creating and writing lyrics? Like, is there like a treasure trove of Dallas Taylor stuff that's been stockpiling?
I'm sure there is. That's a great question. I haven't asked him how much he has, but I do know that he never stopped, you know, whether it be writing or keeping a journal, you know, which you might
not know it, but the next 10 Maylene albums might be written.
Dude, they could be done already. But, you know, more to answer your question, I think that nowadays, just with music in general, you know, we can write a demo over Skype.
Sure,
you know? Like you and I could write a song right now.
Pretty crazy. I know.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. So usually what'll happen is that we have somebody comes to the table with an idea, somebody builds on that and sends it off, somebody builds on that and sends it off, and then next thing you know, there's enough of something built to when we do get into a room, we can kind of just, you know, trim the hedges and landscape it.
But you guys are open to true collaborations, though. It's not like one guy is kind of commandeering all the, you know, all the moves that are made by the band. You know, it's not like, you know, James and Lars come in and tell the other guys what to play. You know, it's not one of those situations. That's nice. Yeah, I'm glad.
Yeah. And like I said before, we've kind of backed down from the path of producers, you know, and really just everybody's owning their position. And it's really cool because it's like true rock and roll. You know, there's no outside influence. I mean, it's just our experiences talking, and a lot of that is you know, a testament to Dallas and his perseverance. So.
Now, going forward, what will be touring life like? And are there any health limitations on Dallas? Well, will you guys be touring in a fashion where you see like some bands go and just do a couple of flyaway dates and come home? Or, you know, are you guys cleared? Is Dallas cleared to go on? You know, will you guys go off for weeks or months at a time? You know, how will you approach, live touring?
You know, that's a huge question mark right now. And I think we all want the answer to that rather quickly, but I don't think it's something that can be answered until we really dip our toes and you know, more sense push the limits and see what's capable. All we know is that the support, like just by people, like even just Facebook comments saying like, hey, come back to Brazil or come back to, you know, Missouri or Montana, whatever. It shows that people do care. And that's just unbelievable because it means that we have the makings. If we can do this, we can
Right.
book a tour and people will show up, and it would be a lot of fun to do that. And I'm sure that it probably will happen. There's just no immediate plans, before we kind of test the waters.
Now, is there any kind of a matchup or any kind of like a bill that you ever just in your mind think is like the dream bill? Like, wow, wouldn't it be great if it was Maylene and the Sons of Disaster out on tour with, like, who are like some bucket list bands that like you see you guys, and not just being like a great bill, like, oh, I just want to be on a bill because this band is great. A real bill where you see, like, stylistically wise, that would be a good package for fans.
Sure. I think that I'd always wanted to do stuff with Lamb of God,
Okay.
and also Pantera.
Yeah. Might have your chance here next year. You might be striking at the right time, my friend. As I hear in the works, there might be a little Pantera reunion that the whole world is talking about right now. So
there might be some stuff, but I think that it would be really cool to play with one of those Godfather like pillar bands.
Sure.
We did a bunch of stuff with Every Time I Die and He Is Legend, and those were always, just so much fun because the music and the crowd were all, the same kind of vibe. And, but I would say I would love to do stuff with Coheed and Cambria. I think that would be incredible.
Yeah.
The stuff they're putting out now is, in my opinion, the best stuff they've ever put out. So it'd be fun to do that. But Furnace Fest, like for me, like Manchester Orchestra, I love that band. Really big fan of Thrice, obviously. So I had never really heard of Furnace Fest, to be honest with you, before a couple of years ago. And I saw some of these bands. I was like, oh my gosh, this is huge.
Yeah,
this is awesome.
It's quite a big event. Yeah. I was looking at the bill the other day too, and it's quite a big production. It's a real big deal.
And I think it's going to be a really cool welcome back, and I think that it's just going to be nostalgic. It's just like all the bands, like Sunny Day Real Estate, like what?
Yeah. Now with Dallas's ties to a band like Under Oath, and the underpinnings and of Christianity in there. Does that ever carry over, or does Maylene ever get any like religious theories put on them, or people thinking that you guys are somehow a spiritual Christian religious, anything in that world?
I mean, over the years, I've certainly, we've played larger Christian festivals. We've played churches. I've been asked to pray with fans. And I think there is a level of faith that I know that we don't go out to try to label ourselves as a Christian band by any means. But I think that Dallas certainly has now more than ever a renewed faith, and like, it's hard not to let these muses bleed into your art. And I think that if we do have these undertones, then that doesn't bother us one bit, because it's genuine feelings, and belief. And I think that if, it's kind of been cool to see people attached to that. And I don't think, I think we've moved past being labeled as that for sure. I don't know if you saw the Open Your Eyes music video, with Danny Trejo, but he basically murders a bunch of people, and I think that was, maybe extending our hand a little too far on that one. But we don't get labeled as a Christian band, although we don't sway from it, So.
This big live return, returning to the stage here in Ocala in September. What is it that you guys collectively as a unit are looking, to do at this show? Is it to really, is it to see what you guys sound like after this long hiatus? Obviously, you've been rehearsing or whatever. Is it so you kind of know what you sound like. Is it to see if you can still deliver the goods live? Is it to see where Dallas is, like health-wise? Is it a kind of a combination of all those things? Or do you kind of already have the answers to a lot of that stuff? Because you guys have obviously been rehearsing and getting together.
For sure.
Are you guys pretty confident that, from here on in, the Maylene and the Sons of Disaster ship is full speed ahead?
I think we all feel that we are ready to push away and set sail here. And I think that this show, especially being in Tampa, that's hometown for us.
Right.
It's just proving that like, oh guys, look what we've been doing, like,
right.
And then boom, Furnace Fest, which is a huge stage and
yep.
a lot of anticipation, is really going to solidify like, hey, we are back, baby. So I think that's the energy that we're rolling into with it. But obviously, we've been pushing Dallas quite a bit at these rehearsals, to the point where we are not worried about it. I think, it's going to be a little different because people go to a Maylene show to see Dallas walk on your head, and like deliver this crazy performance.
Right.
So we're constantly reminding them like, hey man, like just take it a little easy this time.
Yeah. Right. Sure.
But we all know what happens when the energy takes over. So
are you guys still a do-it-yourself? Do you guys have any label support right now at all?
So we do not have any label support. We did just sign with a booking agency called 33rd and West, and they do a ton of great bands like ICP. They do Escape the Fate, just a ton of bands. So we're excited to be working with them. They are going to help us kind of figure out which way we should set sail on this thing, and they've been great to us. So, but yeah, we're do-it-yourself, man. Like we do pretty much everything ourselves, and that's how we kind of want to keep rolling with things, with this renewed energy that we have.
And anything on the forefront with any of the other projects that you can let us know about? Any new music from any of the other bands? Anything they want people to be looking out for?
Yeah, for sure. Astoria State, we are going to be releasing new music. We're really excited about it. You can actually catch those on Sirius Radio, hopefully coming up.
Okay.
Octane. And let's see, I will be filling in most likely for the Red Jumpsuit Apparatus throughout the year. And yeah, look out for the ship that's on the way, man.
Of Maylene and the Sons of Disaster. That's the name of the
ship, baby.
It's going to have it written right on the side. And even when we threw in the furnace today, he did pretty good. He got most of the answers right. He picked The Office over Seinfeld. He was definitely right there. And someday, if the music thing doesn't work out, will we see John Thatcher Longley, Esquire, on a door somewhere in a legal office?
Gosh, maybe not a legal office, but definitely in a beautiful
gynecologist.
maybe it might be a little late for medical school, but maybe like gym teacher.
Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah. I can see it. Listen, man, I so appreciate you being so generous with the time, man. Thank you so much for being here, man. And I wish you guys nothing but the best, man. I hope the Maylene and the Sons of Disaster gets going more full on, and we see shows rolling all over the place, because I'm in upstate New York, so we want one too.
Yeah, baby. Well, I really appreciate you having me on, man. This was a lot of fun.
My pleasure. Thanks for talking to us, John. I really appreciate it, buddy.
Absolutely, dude.
Enjoy the rest of your day, bud.
You too, man. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. Jon Thatcher Longley. I need to say it that way. Esquire. That guy could be a lawyer, or he could be a badass fucking rock and roll drummer. And guess what? He is the latter. Jon Thatcher Longley. Let's call him Jon Longley, of Maylene and the Sons of Disaster, who are about to come back full on and start kicking ass. And he also has another band called Astoria State, Astoria State. If you don't know how to spell that, you're a fucking retard. So hope you guys enjoyed our little chat there with Mr. Longley. Go check out Maylene and the Sons of Disaster. They haven't put out any new music since 2011. But they had a few albums out before that, and they kick ass. Good southern, sleazy, gritty, Pantera style, you know, hard, heavy music. So until next time, guys, thank you for watching Pod Scum. I am your bastard of ceremonies, Rex Ruger. And I am reminding you to take it easy and keep it sleazy.